Hi angels, it's Hailey Reese, and today's video is one that I'm really excited about. I know I say that a lot, but you guys know anything to do with like haunted dolls or people experiencing things with haunted objects always piques my interest. So when I heard that there was an evil slash possessed, haunted elf on the shelf, I was like, yes, this needs to be incorporated into Reesemas. Before I get into today's video though, I would just very quickly like to thank today's video sponsor, Valued Opinions, because I know around the holiday season, things can get really expensive and it can be hard to necessarily afford gifts for everybody. I've been there. And on Valued Opinions, you can take paid surveys. So you literally just take a survey to help a company improve their product, and you receive gift cards that are redeemable at stores like Amazon and Macy's and a ton more. So if you guys are interested in earning some quick cash and gift cards for free, all you do is fill out a survey. I will have a link at the top of my description. Definitely go and check it out. I checked it out and it seems like a really awesome thing, especially for those of you who are looking to have some extra cash and gift cards this holiday season. So thank you so much, Valued Opinions, for sponsoring today's video. And without further ado, let's get into this creepy elf on the shelf, because oh my goodness, you guys. When I read this, my heart was racing for them. So this is not an internet story. This is not something that you can go and search up, because this has happened to one of our fellow Reese's Pieces, which I think makes this all the more terrifying, knowing that I can connect a face to a story and understand the terror that this person claims to have been enduring. So a woman by the name of Amanda reached out to me, I would say about 2 weeks ago, to my questions at HaileyReese.com. You guys know I've provided you with an email that you can send me in your stories or your questions and we can communicate. And I really do try to read through as many as I can. And if I don't, Grandma Reese goes through them and tries to reply to as many as she can so that you guys aren't left hanging in the email. So if you haven't received one back, you will. But basically, she sent me an email about this elf on the shelf, and the title of the email was, "My elf on the shelf is possessed." And I was like, wait, what? So I went and read the email and I was so shockingly terrified of what she's been enduring. And so I thought, you know what? If she's okay with it, I'm gonna come on here and share it with you guys, because she doesn't know what to do, and to be entirely honest with you, I don't know what to make of it either. So she said that last year, her and her husband had got an elf on the shelf for their 2 small children. I freaking think elves on the shelves are so cute. Like, I want one. They are so adorable. I think the concept is so amazing. Like, it's such a cute, festive thing to do. So they got one for their 2 small children. And so the elf on the shelf, you know, gets up to mischievous things throughout the night. But when they would wake up in the morning, the elf on the shelf would be doing really creepy things. Like, for an example, she said the first time that they noticed that the elf on the shelf was doing weird things was when the elf on the shelf woke up in a pile of shattered pictures of her kids. So obviously her and her husband were absolutely shocked. It was sitting up right in the center of completely shattered picture frames of nice photos of their children, and they hadn't heard that happen in the night. The dad claims he didn't do it. She swears she didn't do it. And I mean, obviously the kids didn't do it, because she said when they came downstairs, they were just absolutely devastated that their elf on the shelf would shatter their photos. So I guess that her and her husband had actually gotten into an argument over this, because she asked him if he thought this was some sort of sick, funny joke that's by no means funny, and he got mad at her for accusing him of having shattered their children's photos and set the elf on the shelf in the middle of it as some sort of joke. So right away there was like a tension around this elf on the shelf, and every single night when they would go to sleep, you know, the elf would be in one place, and the following day the elf would be in another place. But the elf would be in a place of like doing things that weren't very funny. Like for an example, she said another time she woke up and the elf on the shelf had like a big knife from their knife thing across its lap. And like, that's not funny. That's not entertaining for a child. Like, you know what I mean? This elf on the shelf was supposed to be for their kids, and every single day they're waking up and this elf on the shelf is doing things that are just like really, really creepy. Here's where it gets kind of strange and where some people in my family are kind of like, okay, is this real? Is this not? They said that they had a Ouija board from their college days that was like downstairs in the basement. They never touched it. They hadn't used it in years. Like nothing weird had happened with any of their Ouija board experiences. And one day they wake up and the elf on the shelf is sitting on top of the Ouija board on the kitchen table. But nobody had pulled the Ouija board out. It was downstairs in the basement, and they both swore up and down that they were not doing this. And so the husband says maybe there's something in this elf on the shelf. Like maybe it is possessed. So he says, why don't we use the Ouija board to communicate with it? Well, she swore up and down not to because she watches my videos and she's watched a few other YouTubers' videos telling them like, do not play with a Ouija board, especially if there's a creepy elf on the shelf now sitting on it. I wouldn't want to play with it either. And so she told him no, and he claimed it was like all good. Well, one night she goes to go out Christmas shopping for the kids. She comes back and he's there with his buddy playing with the Ouija board with the elf on the shelf sitting next to it. And so right away she's super mad at him. Because I mean, he was specifically told not to do this, and when she goes out, he decides to do it. And he starts telling her nothing's even happened, this thing doesn't make sense, you know, it keeps just moving around the board all crazy, it's not doing anything of like interest, like this thing is just not working. And so she was really, really upset. That night, she has a nightmare about this elf on the shelf, and it was speaking in tongue. So she claims that this elf on the shelf in her dream was right next to her and it was speaking in some sort of like Latin tongue. And so she woke up and she was freaking out, and the elf on the shelf was in her bedroom. So she wakes her husband up and she's like, I can't stand this elf on the shelf anymore. I'm gonna start documenting it. So she starts taking pictures of where the elf on the shelf is when she goes to sleep and where the elf on the shelf is in the morning. And it's always in these really creepy places, just like awkward, weird places. Like she said she had ashes for her cat, and the elf on the shelf one morning had like the ashes tipped over. Now because it was like an urn thing, like they didn't spill out or anything, it was completely enclosed, like there was no way to get these ashes out. But the fact that the elf on the shelf was sitting next to like cat ashes knocked over, she was getting really, really freaked out. So she took a series of pictures for like the next week, trying to like document this elf on the shelf to prove it to somebody, because everyone was thinking that she was insane. Like everyone has an elf on the shelf. No one's elf on the shelves do these things. So she said really strange things were happening around her house ever since he played with the Ouija board. You know, things were going missing. Just really bad energy was throughout the house. She said there was a lot of arguing and fighting. Her kids were arguing with each other a lot, which they didn't tend to do. And then all of a sudden one day, the elf on the shelf is in one place when she goes to sleep. She wakes up the next and the elf on the shelf is missing. Completely gone. So she goes to look at her phone, you guys, to look at the last picture of where it was last so she could try to look for this elf on the shelf. And every single photo gone. Completely wiped off of her phone. No trace of them, no trace that she ever took the pictures, nothing. So now the elf on the shelf is missing and there's no trace of any of the photos. Nothing. Zero, zip, nada. This was last Christmas, remember you guys? This is where the email made my like skin crawl. She said she went downstairs about 2 months ago to go and see like the basement and clean it out. And so she was cleaning out the basement, and where that same silly Ouija board was pushed in the corner, the elf on the shelf was back and sitting on top of it, which she said would sound creepy in itself if she hadn't been down there within that past year and known the elf on the shelf wasn't on it. So now she's asking me, what in the heck do I do with this elf on the shelf? My kids want an elf on the shelf again this year. She's like, I'm absolutely terrified. I don't want to bring an elf on the shelf for this house. I want to get rid of this elf on the shelf. I I guess her fear is the same thing with like the other Reese's Pieces who has Mandy the haunted doll, is that if she gets rid of it, she's gonna anger and provoke the spirit even more. I think that this is so crazy. Like, this whole story is insane. I don't think that somebody would write me such a detailed email, so terrified, so craving answers, if it were made up. But like, it does sound unbelievable, but yet my whole life is unbelievable. So I don't know, you guys. This is where I turn to you. What on earth do you think is going on with this girl's elf on the shelf? Do you think that she should contact a priest? Do you think that she should donate it? What do you guys think she should do? Because honestly, I told her that I was going to reach out to you guys. I told her that we would have like conversations in the comments below, because I don't know. Like, the fact that it was on the Ouija board, the fact that she had this dream of it speaking in tongue, it all just seems really, really freaky, and I don't know what to make of it. So please let me know in the comments below what you guys think of her story. I know that she's going to be reading through the comments as well and searching for some sort of an answer, because it's now December and I actually don't know if she's decided to have an elf on the shelf or not. Last I spoke to her was like a few days ago, asking if I could share the story and, you know, communicating with her as to what I think she should do. But she wants to hear what you guys think. I'm gonna try to think of some things as well. And that is basically it for today's video. Have you guys ever had a weird feeling about an elf on the shelf? I don't know. I've personally never had an elf on the shelf. I wish I did. Maybe next year. But I have had a haunted dog that moves around the room, so who am I to judge? If you guys enjoyed today's video but you are not yet subscribed, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I post a ton of videos. I don't want you to miss when I upload, especially because we are doing 25 days of Reesemas, so you don't want to miss out on that. And please give this video a big thumbs up. It makes my heart super happy when you guys do that, so please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, I love you.